morning, everyone, and welcome back to the University of Limerick, the location of the World Masters Ultimate Club Championships. And we bring you action now from the Grand Masters Open division. We're in the quarterfinals with Johnny Walker from the USA up against Zimmer of Great Britain. Zimmer pulling through Dave Barnard. It is Benjamin Rees and Bjorn Shea on the commentary. So to ensure complete neutrality in the booth, we've got a bashful Brit and a proud American, so I think that just about evens out.
Yeah, good morning, everybody.
Very excited for this contest, which has Johnny Walker starting on offense. Borsheim looking for options downfield. Simple flick underneath. Now leading pass to Schminke. Wants to find a way to get this off, goes back towards the reset. That's Cryer. The far side, being patient here, the Johnny Walker offense, not forcing anything necessarily. This might be a foul on the mark. You see that is very close, and there probably is contact as that's released. So the disc goes back, uncontested. Leading pass into space. Divas looking for options and sees that inside window open up and lasers it through. Nice clean start to this game for Johnny Walker.
Yeah, when you're playing front of the stack defense there, it's very tempting to try to cheat over and stop the up the line, but the attentive Deaver saw that defender move over and hit the easy straight ahead inside flick for the score.
Yeah, that was the potential hand block that was called back on the foul. We're seeing here Diva's looking towards the open side, and that defender just gets caught, as you mentioned, sitting in that lane a little bit, and that is a relatively simple throw to the front of the end zone for the goal.
Yeah, and that's Will Deaver, longtime leader of the USA Ultimate and previously known UPA, Ultimate Players Association. So a man who has given a ton back to Ultimate. So I'm glad Ultimate can give back to him here in sunny, sunny Limerick.
Yeah, this is one of the things that I'm enjoying about WMUCC this week is kind of finding out all the stories about people who've contributed to the community in various ways across the years.
That was Charlie Chuck Stavlo, a fellow Texan with the pull.
Instantly recognizable by that straw in his mouth. We'll get more on that story later. Passing to the middle of the field here, finds Mitchell. Mitchell underneath to Seeley. On the far sideline, Shipley has it, wants to squeeze it down there. Nice layout snag made by Zimmer. Now looking central, finding Bixler. Bixler to the end zone, Seeley's the target, and he don't think he could. Oh, he could! Wow, I thought for a second he wasn't going to get there in time, but he's able to get down. Good feet from the big man and make it one apiece.
Before the game, I was asking you who's going to be the big receiver, who's going to make the downfield plays for this Zimmer team, and you told me it's probably going to be Seeley. He's got sticky hands and great height, and we saw it right there.
Yeah, that's he's got 11 assists, and that's his 11th goal on the weekend as well. As we have a look on the replay, it's two of the many Daves connecting up. Seeley just stumbles a little bit, and it's a good job that Dave Seeley has big bucket hands because he needed to use them to get down there.
Great job on the camera crew getting the angle on that replay. Really got to see him make the clean catch.
By the way, if you're ever in doubt about who's got the disc, just say Dave and you're probably right. There's 6 of them on Zimmer. They don't quite have a full line, which is disappointing, but they'll get there soon enough. Here is, you guessed it, Dave. This time Barnard with the pull again, going for that rolling backhand. And just a little bit of a misfield there from Cryer. It's going to put them back in their own end zone. Faking the inside, going to the open side. Bulch, dropped in close order. Captain Dan Berry picks up. He wanted the give off to Thayson. It wasn't there, and instead he finds Glover. The bearded Glover goes short. Here's Grayson. Grayson with a little high release flick, was looking for Thayson, but it was well defended there by Walker.
That was Bob Cryer with the D.
So earning it back for the Coloradans?
Mostly, yes, sir.
Yeah, we'll go with Coloradans. That sounds about right. This one's put deep down the far sideline. It's going to float a little bit. Tussled underneath it. Forward was the defender, and there's a foul called.
I think you're going to see Walker put it pretty consistently without hesitation to Balch there. He is kind of carrying their downfield scoring. So when he goes deep, they're not really going to even check if he's covered. They're going to put it and hope he makes the play.
Yeah, they did look like both of them had their arms locked. Who initiated the contact? I certainly couldn't tell you. But there is definite contact there. I don't think that's up for debate.
I'm impressed with how Ford took the last-minute read by switching sides, because it looked like he had the inside, but then realized that the disc was continuing to float, switched to the outside. So whether or not he fouled him, I'm not sure, but still an impressive read.
You can see there in the green jersey, Dmitry Donashenko, who's one of the game advisors. For those of you not familiar, ultimate self-refereed sport, players make their own calls and judgments. Game advisors can aid those discussions by helping to provide perspectives or by clarifying the rules, but they cannot make binding judgments, and I think this disc is going to go back as a contested foul.
You saw the player put his fists together, and that means contest. The foul was contested.
So in any scenario where it's contested, the disc goes back to the last uncontested point, which in this case was the original thrower. Diva with those blue tights. Nice break around. This time he does find Balch. Balch to Mordock. Into the centre of the pitch. That's a little bit too low. Zimmer want to pick up quickly. No time like the present. Thayson's got a big arm, but this time he's going underneath to Barnard. Barnard down the line, looking for Thayson. Brilliant put in stride. Thought he was going to go for the deep. This time, he's just going to holster it. Tries to squeeze that into the inside channel where he finds Grayson. Grayson wants to dish off. Goes back to Harding. Harding with the hammer. Oh, this is high. This is very high, and it is really well defended by Diva.
Diva was the smallest guy in the area, but got up and made a big play.
Yeah, saw that coming and just sat in that space. Got up nice and early. Good example there of boxing out. Don't always need to be the biggest player on the field in order to get those high discs. Diva breaks towards the far side. Zimmer's been able to create turnovers here, but unable to use them. Will Johnny Walker put in this upwind hold on the third time of asking? Ruiz has the under instead, wants to laser it through the centre of the field, and he finds Diva in stride. How that avoided everyone, I don't know, as Diva pops to Corral for the goal.
Yeah, that was probably way more over the stack of a throw than the thrower intended, but with the long point, nobody was able to get up high enough to knock it down, and Diva showing how quick he is, coming out of the backfield, going all the way down the field and catching up to that throw.
Yeah, a little bit of speed there from Diva, and you see this put again. Low release, maybe it doesn't quite get up enough as much as he wanted, but it does get it over the defenders. Diva picks it up and flips for the goal. Already we're seeing what an impact Diva's having. 2 goals and a block, and we're only 2 points in. Both of these sides having mixed results in the pool, winning 4 games and losing 2. Johnny Walker finished third after they had a bit of a 3-way tie there. And no, Johnny Walker finished second, excuse me, and Zimmer finished third in their pool. So theoretically, should be quite an even matchup here. Here's Stavlo again with that straw in the mouth. You were telling me about this before the game.
Yeah, I started playing Ultimate in 2002 at the University of Texas, and he at the time was at Texas A&M, and he was instantly recognizable as a mainstay on the rival Texas A&M, as everybody called him Straw Boy. And he went on to make a name for himself, and I don't think I've ever seen him without the straw in his mouth in, 20 years now. and we played a couple worlds together, and all around the world, straw in his mouth.
Yeah, it's one of the things that players probably tell you, you should probably take that out, and at this point it's not going to happen.
That's right. I'm sure his parents went through the same thing.
Bixler trying to find an option. He's kind of shaking his head. Maybe some contact earlier in the play. Could have been communicated a little better, I think. Bixler checks in. The squirrely Ford, whippet they call him, gets free as the reset. Looking around, doesn't like it. Nice upline cut though, and immediately put deep. It's going to be players underneath it for both sides. And it's Seeley again. Not sure he was the intended target, but Zimmer will not care one jot. A clean hold again for them to make it 2 apiece.
I think when he's on the field, you can just go ahead and say he was the intended target. That was quite impressive. I didn't even see him to the last minute.
Yeah, tracked it well, and yeah, maybe got a bit more float on the throw than they wanted to invite that pressure from Shipley, but yeah, just putting faith in the receivers there, getting the position, and Seeley coming over the top for the grab. Tying us up at 2s. Every point scored, we'll call it upwind. The wind's not particularly strong today, but when it does gust, and it can be a little gusty and blustery. Blustery? Is that the word I wanted? Yes, sure, why not?
That works.
Yeah, that it does seem to go from right to left as you look at it on the camera. Here's that deep shot from Shipley. Dave Stobbs, a.k.a. thrashes the target, and Dave Steely, just Seeley, yeah, it becomes Dave Steely, nicking that one over the top. Again, floating pool gives Zimmer time to get down on defense. Diva with the inside shot. Here's Ruiz, continuing to the far sideline. This looking much better from Johnny Walker. There seems to be a bit more rhythm and flow about their offense on this occasion, but I think that is going to be a pick.
I think that was a really good, nice setup by Walker out of the pole. They had a 1 ISO in the front with 3 way back. And I think as this game has gone on, they've figured out who their best matchups are going to be. So they're finding the mismatch they think exists with speed, and they'll probably ISO that person every time to start an offense.
Yeah, get those players cleared out and isolating those one-on-one matchups in plenty of space. Diva going on the reset, face and bids, doesn't get there, rolls into the ankles a little bit. Pryor, not a problem for him as he finds Bulch on the far side. Now Mordock going in towards the center of the pitch, but Zimmer are there. They'll get another break opportunity. Big pump fake, doesn't get it. Instead it's short to Whitehouse. Just about sneaks that past the defender's outstretched arm. Thayson, quite an expansive thrower. He does open up the arm. He's got a target. It's Dan Berry, and Berry makes the catch. First blood to Zimmer. They lead 3-2.
That was great. I saw that receiver was open by about 30 yards, and that throw had to be thrown. So I'm glad the thrower figured out a way to get off a really smooth throw.
Yeah, Thayson will put it. Don't worry about that. It was just a question of whether they could find it.
So the first break of the game, as you mentioned, goes to Zimmer, putting them in the advantage for the moment.
There you are. There was the turnover, trying to squeeze it through the center of the park. Cooper was ready, and Thayson, doesn't matter that Dan Berry's one of the shorter players on the side. Just you can see the calculation going on in the head. Just gets that little bit of a curve over the top and weights it perfectly into Berry's arms. Brilliant put from Thayson. So Zimmer with the downwind break. Barnard uncorks the pool, contorting his body as he does so. Caught by Johnny Walker, sending the O-line back out there. And they want to look deep as well. Carroll's the target. Brings it down over Shardlow for the score.
Great job by the receiver, Carroll, of using his body to keep out the defender, Shardlow. And he used two hands too, which I always encourage younger players to try to do.
100%.
It makes your body a lot wider and harder to get around. Once you have position, if you put both arms up, they have to go around the breadth of your shoulders as opposed to just the breadth of your chest to your back. So it makes you a much, much wider wall to go around. And
it also provides the added benefit of theoretically making the catch a lot more secure, going up with two hands as opposed to with one. Just saw the position there, put it to space, and as you mentioned, using those two arms, getting the big box out for the goal. You're watching the World Masters Ultimate Club Championship live from the University of Limerick. Hello, that's us in the booth. Benji Rees alongside Bjorn Shea, working together for the first time this week, thoroughly enjoying it.
Yeah, glad to be with you.
It's been a wonderful week so far, all sorts of ultimate, and now we get into the business end of the tournament where things are really getting going. Grand Masters Open Division quarterfinals. 3-3, Johnny Walker and Zimmer, but Zimmer up a break.
Couple players we haven't seen on the field yet for Johnny Walker who have a slightly larger roster. So as the game goes on, you'll probably see them dig into the roster a little more.
Yeah, having those extra legs certainly doesn't hurt, especially this late in the tournament. Bixler dumps back to Berry. Berry back to Bixler. They want to try and keep the disc moving quickly here. Constantly getting to low stall counts, changing angles of attack, and trying to keep defenders on their heels. It's going to be a pick downfield. Just checking that everyone's set and in position. BB checks in on the mark. Underneath comes Seeley. Seeley looking for Berry down the line, and he finds him for 4-3. Zimmer's offense has been perfection so far, and I mean that truthfully because their O-line has not turned it over so far.
That's pretty impressive. They keep a lot of the cuts close with that. They generally don't stretch it until Johnny Walker makes a mistake. So that it's kind of difficult because it entails a lot of activity from every single player in order to create openings. So good focus by that O-line and good activity by them. I think you mentioned that before the game, that they're maybe not the type that relies on height, and that kind of lends itself to that. The constant motion, everybody taking advantage of the full side of the field, making sure each receiver is involved.
Yeah, it's one of those where rather than, cool big set plays, they kind of just go out there and play frisbee. They've done it with each other for so many years that they try and kind of keep it simple and have trust in one another to understand how to attack each space and where they're all going to be.
That's very nice. That's one of the benefits of the format of these Grandmasters tournaments. Players who've known each other for 20 plus years.
Some of these players started playing together in school, so I think that puts into perspective how long they've been playing together, given what the cutoff for Grandmasters is. Into the centre, finding an option now, spreading it towards this near sideline. Tripoli finds Mordock. Pick, just looking for a hand signal. Echoed by the game advisors.
Tripoli, sometimes called Triple T, because it's Ted Tripoli. The third T being terrible or terrifying, depending on
how he's playing.
Exactly. He was an absolute menace for the Wisconsin Hodags back when I was in college, and I was terrified of him.
Yeah, the Hodags, one of U.S. College Ultimate's premier programs. This shot down the line, stretching and reaching and turning on the speed. Johnny Walker catch for the goal. next.
Yep. It looks like the Johnny Walker O-line going this direction with the wind. Now that they're going that way, they really do not press the brakes.
No, very much it is full speed ahead. Let's have a look at it again on the replay. Not afraid to just work it down the foreside if that's where the opportunity is. And Borsheim makes Mordok put in a little bit of a stretch, but not a problem, especially a couple of points in when you're fully warmed up. And so we're level once more at 4 apiece. World Masters Ultimate Club Championships coming to you live from the University of Limerick. We've had a glorious week here in the Treaty City.
And known as the Treaty City after the Treaty of Limerick, signed here in 1691.
What was in the Treaty of Limerick? I couldn't tell you. Answers on the back of a postcard, or alternatively, in the YouTube chat here on the World Flying Disc Federation YouTube channel. Hello to everyone watching at home, whether it's late morning here in the UK or Ireland, or way too early back home. What's Colorado, 7 hours behind?
I believe so, yeah. Texas is 6, and Colorado's 1 more in mountain time.
Stobbs has a couple of players in the same space. Pops it short to Shardlow. Sees Bixler going downfield. There was a potential maybe to get the block in there, but peeled off, and now it's put deep. There's Berry and Seeley there again. And once more, Seeley steals it from his teammate. 5-4.
Get out of the big man's way, because that's his disc.
Yeah, if they collide, I know who my money's on to come out better.
And Seeley having himself a game as expected. I think the hardest part about that was the read. I thought it was going to be a jump ball with the athletic Balch, who is probably the best athlete so far on Walker. So I was hoping for a jump ball, but Seeley read it too well, and it faded, and he made the catch.
Yeah, and actually, if you're supporting Zimmer here, you probably want a bit better communication so the two of them don't really collide in the back of the end zone. But I think if Seeley hadn't got there, it was going to be Berry's disc. Maybe, though, the fact that Seeley is there helping to provide a little bit of body position and boxing doesn't hurt. That's a big body to try and get round. Taysom pulls it against the wind, and it skims just beyond the brick mark. Diva finds Ruiz. Now Mordok, who caught that last goal for Bravo. Player down on the floor. Just a bit of a collision there. All in good spirits, though, which is good to see that the two sides, despite the intensity of the game, playing it with the right attitude and mindset. Ruiz sees that opportunity come through the front line of that Zimmer D. Now pop back into the hands of Ruiz, into the end zone on the far side of the pitch. That was clean and clinical from Johnny Walker.
I'm not sure exactly what the defense that Zimmer was running there. It seemed, I don't know if it was a little poachy or a little clammy, if you sometimes called, but Triple T saw that and stood absolutely still in the middle of the field, waited for all the defense to swirl around him, and he was able to just catch it in the middle of the field in a very powerful position where he could break to either side or throw it right up the middle. Yeah,
it's that sense of positioning, knowing that you don't have to be moving all the time. Sometimes you can just sit in those spaces, especially against the more zony defenses. If you've got that pocket, why move out of it? Trust that your other players can move it around and find you.
Yeah, with zones, I often find that middle of the field about 17 meters away is usually like ends up being the most open area, because most of the defense is worried about either right near the disc or really far from the disc. So sitting in that middle zone can really open things up.
The thing I was always told, if you're playing kind of downfield against a zone, is you want to be marked by either 2 people or no people. Because if you're marked by 2 people, then someone else should be free, and if you're marked by no people, well, then you're not marked by anyone, and you're free.
I like that. I like that a lot. I use that.
So just the one break so far this game. Seeing the quality on show from both sides here in the Open Grand Masters division. Shardlow lets the pull drop. wants to dribble it with Stobbs. Defender bids, that's going to give them more space to go 1-2, 1-2. Back into the hands of Shardlow, who's running the show this offense. Foul called.
That's Joe Iannacone on the mark. He's a longtime Austin resident, now currently resides in Denver, and it looks like he slapped down on the disc when Shardlow was faking to his dump.
You saw the risk there of bidding on one of those quick little passes, because if you don't get it, you can gain so much yards before the defense gets set again. Still count rising. Short little tricky throw there to Shipley. Shipley, oh, the cheek of that one, the hammer over the top, and it's off Whitehouse's hands. First turnover for Zimmer's O-line.
It was somewhat accurate throw, but at the same time, making a receiver read something so high over their head is, they really don't appreciate it.
Yeah, it's always awkward when the disc is going right over your head, because it makes it really difficult to track. And Whitehouse is just in that space, preventing the pivot. Game advisor comes over, just double checking. Everything's all above board. Gwinner. First time this Walker D-line have touched the disc. Can they earn that break back? Throw is low. Might have hit the turf anyway. Bixler wasn't going to give it the opportunity to be completed. Stobbs down the sideline to Berry. Berry, high release into the end zone. That is a gorgeous throw to Shipley, and Zimmer do keep it in. 6-5.
Well, we saw the first opportunity Walker had for a break, and it didn't come up. It's almost like that defensive offense may be just a little rusty because they haven't really had an opportunity to even touch a Frisbee yet. So maybe it'll take a few tries for them to actually get some flow going.
Yeah, and then happy to go backwards in order to generate that forward momentum sometimes. And this, you see that inside channel, it's a beautiful, shapely throw to Shipley.
Yeah, set it on the wind nicely, let the air take it right to his player.
So Zimmer up 6-5. Both sides have come to play today. That is not in doubt.
Certainly, certainly. Only a few turnovers because these are such expert throwers. Don't let that convince you that they're not playing hard on defense either. Seen a lot of close bids. Someone's always in the area. Very few people springing free.
Yeah, it's very much a question, I think, of efficient offense rather than struggling defense. And, whoa, the drop pull. That is brutal. Can Zimmer take advantage of the most unfortunate of miscues? And they're going to take the timeout.
Not wanting to waste this incredible opportunity gifted to them.
Yeah, that is so strange. I'm almost a little bit lost for words. I think it might have been Cryer of all people who dropped it. And I'd have put my house on that never happening.
Yeah, whether it was Cryer or Deaver, two of the biggest names in United States Ultimate. Rare opportunity. You could probably count on one hand the number of times they've dropped a pull.
So while Zimmer's D-line tries to cook up a little play here to get another break, we're going to take a breather here in the booth, and we'll be back with you very shortly. Welcome back to the World Masters Ultimate Club Championships Grand Masters Open Division action. Zimmer against Johnny Walker. Zimmer up a break at 6-5, looking to cash in another here to make it 7 after and I cannot believe I'm saying this, a drop ball from Johnny Walker. I don't mean to dwell on it, but, I mean, how unusual is that?
Incredibly. And about 10 yards out. Good defense, though. Someone springs free.
And Barnard to the break side for the break and 7-5. You could see the stall count was rising. The force maybe getting caught a little bit greedy, coming too far out of position. And Barnard just about made the space to get that throw off. And he reeled it in for the goal. 7-5.
Sometimes when you're that was the front of the stack who ended up catching the score, when your internal count gets really high, maybe 8 or 9, you just choose a direction and run for it because you're sure that the throw is going to go up. But there was enough time for the receiver to change direction, go back towards the end zone, and you have your head in your hands as a defender.
You could tell what the initial look was off the timeout, and it was trying to get that stall count reset on that dump to Thayson, which I quite like, because off the timeout, often one of the reasons I think you see a lot of turnovers is because your offense can't get moving until the disc is checked in. So rather than get it going beforehand and you're already getting separation by the time the count starts, you know, you're already at 0 at least, or maybe even a couple of seconds, depending on when the timeout was called, before anyone can even start to generate a bit of action downfield. So getting it reset early, changing the position, and getting that stall count back down, I think is a good move. Absolutely.
Yeah, especially like you're saying, get back towards the center of the field too, so that you have a more advantageous position.
So 7-5, Zimmer lead now.
And a well-caught pull.
Yeah, that's going to be a big confidence booster for Johnny Walker. Not that you'd have ever expected them to drop 2 in a row, but stranger things have happened.
I'm sure there was a prop bet somewhere.
Cheeky little blade, gets it over the top of that cup. Nice idea. Well executed as well. Back in Diva's hands.
And you see the confidence of Zimmer busting out a zone against these really well-established handlers. So they're really thinking that they're going to take whatever tricks they can now that they have a bit of an advantage.
Yeah, throw something different at them, see how well they deal with it. Also, I think this might help to save the fact that there's a much larger, deeper roster for Johnny Walker. But this time, Walker pretty much walk through it and make it 6-7.
Yeah, one step at a time. As with most zones, there was one 20-yard throw over the top that kind of led to a waterfall of sorts. A courageous backhand blade down the sideline led to a runaway train.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you try and then scramble back for position, but you can't get there in time. And Ruiz finds Carroll in the front of the end zone, catching his second goal of the game to reduce the deficit to just 1, taking Carroll's I'll start that again. Taking Carroll's tally, it's a bit of a mouthful, to 9 goals for the tournament, in addition to 3 assists. Getting contributions from up and down the roster, Johnny Walker, as you would expect with a team of this quality, and also a team with that has a lot of expectations on them and expects to get breaks at regular opportunities.
They still have yet to get a break this game. Perhaps this is their time.
Charlie Stavlow, as you mentioned, straw boy. No prizes for guessing why they call him that. Ready to pull. He has that Discraft Ultra Star in his hand. Discraft is the world leader in disc sports and provides the Ultra Star, which is the official tournament disc here in Limerick. Shardlow and Stobbs playing 1-2 in the backfield. Now Stobbs wants to break around. Oh, that is some bid that doesn't get there from Spittle. Was close, and it was clean as well. Here's Seeley, who is not to comment on his speed, but suspiciously open, and it's going to be a pick. Carroll is the player matched up against him, also wearing the Johnny Walker branded tights.
They come with little tennis balls on the end of them.
That one just about squeezing it up the line to Seeley. Seeley rips it, he's looking for Bixler. Bixler can't get there. Just too far out in front.
All right, so the second opportunity for Johnny Walker to get a break. Let's see if they do a little better than last time, where they didn't even get one completion.
That is some bid as well. Good fast hands from Mitchell to make sure that he still secured it. You can see that they're trying to sag and clog the middle of that field. They find it blading towards this near side. Now finds the handler running through. Opens up the arm, uncorks the deep look. This is floating and it is sitting. Oh, Shardlow nearly got there over the back. Was boxed out. You can see he's frustrated. Probably not like to see a bid with that much contact. But Johnny Walker get the break to stick. And they've tied us all at 7 apiece. And we've got a Galaxy point. That was much better from Johnny Walker's D-line.
Yeah, they got a couple of quick dishes to get in the middle of the field to a power position, and a great read by Carroll, who goes up with 2 hands to make himself a nice strong wall to keep out the bidding Shardlow.
Carroll, a goal machine this game. 3 of them so far, and I think this is going to be a timeout for Johnny Walker. So while the 2 sides talk about their preparations for Galaxy Point, sudden death to take half, we'll take a breather as well, and we'll be back with you on the other side.
He's in a great spot. Now. He's in a perfect spot. Yes, his massive head has blocked everything. That was a huge play, but we have seen none of it. Finney, he's done it.
The World Masters Ultimate Club Championships live at the University of Limerick. We've got we've just got Grand Masters Open action. Give it a few years. And it's the quarterfinals between Johnny Walker of Colorado, USA against Zimmer from Great Britain. And we've got a little bit of a crowd generating behind us on the hill here to watch this exciting Galaxy Point. It's like Universe, only smaller. Sudden death to take half. And for Zimmer, the opportunity to do the old 2 for none. Because if they can go downwind and hold here, they'll receive the disc to start the second half. 2 possessions without the opponent having one. Johnny Walker coming down with match defense again. Whitehouse underneath, shoots it, and it is knocked away.
That's Joey Onacone with the D. He was smart to get in the lane. I don't think that was his guy.
No, I'm not sure that Whitehouse will be too happy with that decision to throw it. Stobbs tries to poach off to get in the lane downfield, and they run it through Albright. Albright underneath, nice high grab there made by Borsheim. Has Thayson fooled on the mark. Goes back in the backfield. Stavlo around to Yannicone. Looking deep now, the Walker offense, when there's no mark. They can't see it. Seeley with the big bid comes flying through and gets it back for Zimmer. What a bid by the big man. Now Berry going back to Stobbs, known to many around the UK and internationally as Thrash. Finds Seeley. That is a pick. Thayson stopped a long time ago. So Walker replaying on.
So even though the thrower threw it, because the receiver stopped because of the pick, that should mean it goes back, correct?
Yeah, I think it's slightly different to the way it works in the USAU rule set.
Okay.
I will say that because I'm not familiar with the way the USAU rule set works. The game advisors are coming over here to help provide clarification on the rules. I always think in these scenarios, it's better just to make sure you catch it, just so this sort of this sort of thing doesn't happen.
Right, don't stop running till someone holds you down. And it will stay here.
Yep, so just clarification about what the stall is as well. Again, although you can see the intensity, everything's still being played in good spirits, good communication resolving the calls. Thayson. Couple of players in the underneath space, wants to hammer over the top for Berry. Tough read, and knocked away once more by Johnny Walker's defense.
Berry had a great read on it, but the defender was there just enough to bother him and really not allow him to make the catch. But we going back to the thrower, foul called on the throw.
Yeah, you can see this throw helix a little bit and spin away from Berry. But as you mentioned, looks like there is contact on that throw.
When there's a forced backhand and someone tries to throw a hammer like that, a big one, it's not uncommon to see contact.
Underneath to Seeley. Wants to try and get it off the line. Inside shot to Stobbs, who has the lefty backhand back to Whitehouse. Takes the free reset of Seeley. Seeley back to Stobbs. Stobbs to the break side. He's got the target. He's got the man, Lewis Glover. And Zimmer will take half 8-7 in what has been a scintillating half.
Yeah, that was probably the most back and forth point we've seen, with each side having a couple turnovers. So each of them sensing the magnitude of that Galaxy point and really fighting hard.
Right, you were saying that before this week you weren't familiar with Galaxy Point, but yeah, I think it adds a little bit of sense of occasion to it. There's the bid from Seeley that got the disc back, and then just kind of playing it calmly outside the end zone, seeing how important this is. It would have been easy for them to try and jam it in the jam hole, but instead just staying calm, confident, textbook ultimate, dump and swinging it around the back before Glover catches for the score.
Yeah, great half. As you said, we'll have Zimmer coming out, receiving the disc, so that break, or that hold meant all that more for them.
Yeah, a wonderful first half here in the Grandmasters Open quarterfinal. Your halftime score is Johnny Walker 7, Zimmer 8. We're going to stretch off, get ready and get fast and loose for the second half. We highly recommend that you get a bit of water and some snacks on as well, and don't go anywhere, because the Grandmasters Open quarterfinal continues after the break.
He's in a great spot. He's in a perfect spot. Yes, his massive head has blocked everything. That was a huge play, but we have seen none of it. Finney, he's done it.
Bichon picks up, and they've got a short field. They've got another goal. It's tied up at 12. I cannot believe what I'm seeing
Can
here.
Lola Dam chase that one down? That is a score for Harslinger Elferkel. Fantastic run by Julia Lutz.
We're on a mission to make Ultimate huge.
And we believe that requires knocking down the paywall.
We want our videos and live streams to be free to watch, and we want them to go viral.
When you become a member, you enable us to improve our working relationships with tournament organisers, events and federations.
And you'll help us to produce live stories for Ultimate fans, and to generate new fans with our enhanced content.
We are a group of Ultimate players, coaches and video enthusiasts, and we want to bring you coverage on a more consistent basis. We want to make stories that not only reach you,
but also reach people outside the Ultimate community.
Ciao ragazzi, support the community.
Let's subscribe Ulti TV. There's lots of the videos, posting, everything. Check it out. They are the best one. Woo!
If you want to grow Ultimate Sports, become a member of Ulti TV.
Regardez Ulti TV.
Deviens un membre d'Ulti TV et fais grandir ta communauté.
Stop Ulti TV, følg med i Roginkime, Ultimate bendruomenę.
Si quieres ayudar a Ulti TV, puedes ser miembro de Ulti TV.
Everyone, follow Ulti.tv on Instagram, on YouTube. They've got everything.
Best content.
Like their pictures if you love frisbee. Just do it.
We're counting on you.
Bli medlem på Alltid TV.
Became member
of Ulti TV.
Mamma mia.
Contribue au développement d'Ultimate avec Ulti TV.
Like and subscribe, Ulti TV, the best in the world.
We want to grow Ultimate.
We want to grow Ultimate. We've worked with the major federations and the greatest events.
We have our signature style 2-camera setup,
with thousands of hours of experience.
and our crew is globally dispersed to facilitate coverage everywhere around the world. We can also scale back our broadcast with just one elevated camera, or scale up with 2 fields, 2 cameras, and 2 commentators on each.
We work with local teams and we all have the same mission, to grow the sport and bring it to new people by providing live coverage and news stories.
Become a member today on our Patreon page.
And fund our work to cover more events in the future and to bring more stories, ideas and live coverage to the eyes of the ultimate world and beyond.
Welcome back to the University of Limerick, Sunny Sunny Limerick, and we're not even sort of lying this time. The World Masters Ultimate Club Championships continues here on the World Flying Disc Federation YouTube channel. Thank you very much for tuning in as we rejoin this Grand Masters Open quarter-final. Zimmer from the UK up 8-7 on Johnny Walker of the USA and receiving to begin the second half. Shardlow in his hands. Goes to Stobbs, stretches it out wide to Seeley. Seeley looks downfield. Undercut made by Thayson. That might have to go back on a pick. It's Benjamin Rees in the booth, delighted to be joined once more by Bjorn Shea.
Yeah, great to be back in this competitive game for the second half.
Right, we've picked a corker for you so far. If the second half is anything like the first, we're in for a real treat. Everyone clears through. And they've put it deep, looking for Stobbs. Can he get there? He boxes out well. Pick is called a little bit away from the discs. I was telling you before the game that I've lost count over the years of the number of times that people have let David Stobbs go deep, and Thrash has made them pay for it.
Yeah, such an accomplished thrower. Everybody wants to push him out. But then once he gets that head of steam, he's a great receiver as well.
He just gets a good read on this. slows up ever so slightly again, just trying to box out the Ruiz. He's maybe got that extra bit of length.
Yeah, looking behind him, he saw the angle that Ruiz was taking, rotates his body to cut off that angle. Just a perfectly played catch.
Yeah, matching faded Great Britain Ultimate caps for Zimmer. Stobbs dumps to Bixler, and I think that might be another pick. Everyone flooding downfield and getting in each other's way, maybe. Checked in. Bixler fakes the inside. Instead resets. To whip it, there's another pick. They need to sort out the spacing on this offense because at the moment it's congested.
Yeah, there's about 2 meters between the front two people in the stack, just naturally creating picks.
Yeah, those little rubs across each other. Stobbs underneath. And another pick. I think this time Shardlow making that cut to the open side, and the defender poaches off and gets in his teammate's way. Seeley comes underneath, defender bids, there's no one there. Can they take advantage? Thayson goes up line. It's put, and Thayson toes the line.
It looks like there's a consensus that it was in.
Well, I
No?
thought there might be, but maybe there is not.
I didn't see any firm calls from sideline players. It looks like everybody was kind of waiting for someone to make the move.
We'll look at it on the replay. There's the undercut from
See
Seeley.
that back left foot. Watch that back left foot.
I think they're calling it a goal on the field. Yeah, that looks in to me.
Yeah, he did a great job of keeping that back left foot down much longer than he naturally would to ensure that it was in, and it was in by a solid 5-6 inches.
Yeah, nice little bit of toe drag swag there from Thayson to begin the second half with a clean, but not. It's clean in the sense they didn't turn it over, but certainly there's stuff that the offense can clean up there because it was, a little bit discombobulated.
Certainly not ideal when you have to send your main handler deep because of a lot of picks downfield, but I think that's just maybe part of the cost of doing business when you play the style of offense that they do, as you were describing it earlier. A lot of swirl, a lot of trust without too much structure. Sometimes it just isn't as smooth as it could be, but on the whole, it's working out for them.
Yeah, when everyone's on the same page, it's really good to watch because they're catching it. You're already getting people coming free. They make slightly unorthodox cuts at times because they have that trust of knowing where the throws are going to be. But yeah, when it's not on the same page, it's a bit of a cluster, you know what. So Diva, faced with a different defensive look, they're going to be a little bit more judicial with how they want to play this, taking their time. Nice break to the far side. Now popped after Borsheim. Tequila called, which I'm assuming is their transition to playing one-on-one defense, but it comes too late, and Johnny Walker march it in for the goal.
Yeah, that wasn't so much a cup zone. It looked like a one with maybe they call it like a 1-3-3, and so one on the mark. But either way, once Deaver had a good-looking break up the field for about 20 meters, again, it was off to the races.
Yeah, with so many zones, you overload the front end to create pressure, but that means that you are often outnumbered downfield, and Johnny Walker took advantage of this well, never holding the disc and allowing them to get set, just keeping it moving quickly, and a simple pass into Correll's hands for the goal.
Yeah, I always like it when you hear the desperation man breakdown call. In this case, it was Tequila, because no matter how hard you yell, you can't teleport down the field and get on the man who are open.
Saw a shot on the sideline of a youngster in a LMU jersey. Of course, as you might expect, players bringing their families out here to the World Masters Ultimate Club Championships. It's one of the reasons why I think there's such a lovely atmosphere at the fields this week.
LMU being the Masters women?
Yeah, London Masters Ultimate, who put up a really good fight against Reboot Squad in their earlier streamed game this morning. We won't tell you the result of that in case you're saving it for later, but it's well worth checking out.
Indeed it is. I got to watch that game and it was well fought.
Shardlow goes underneath to Ford. Those two Brighton teammates for a long, long time. Here's Stobbs. Whippet plants. Oh, sells the defender completely the wrong line to come underneath. Shardlow tries to squirrel his way free. Tough, trapped on the sideline, hammering over the top. Nice release valve over to the far sideline for Mitchell, who goes to the ground but does secure the catch. It does feel as well like Johnny Walker's defense has cranked it up a notch or two in this second half. Dish short to Seeley. Back to Mitchell. Mitchell to Ford. Ford to Seeley. Bid comes in a bit late there. Don't like that. And it is booed by the fans on the hill behind us.
Yeah, it's as hard as Johnny Walker's playing, Seeley just almost seems like a cheat code release valve because he's such a good receiver and is always so open.
And he put that one up the line, and there were two players there for Zimmer, but two players there for Johnny Walker as well, and they lay out in between to knock it out the sideline.
It looked like there being two receivers for Zimmer caused them both to hesitate and give a chance for the Johnny Walker defender.
Yeah, Shardlow leaves it for Ford, and what a way to pounce. Comes flying through for the block. That looks to me like a Batchy, I think, the number 6.
That's correct. So one of the rare break opportunities here for Johnny Walker. Let's see what they can do with it.
Yeah, going to need a couple of breaks to swing this in their favour, but if they could go down the field here, they'd bring it level. Batchy picks up, goes underneath. Shardlow bids a little bit behind into Carroll's hands. Now Seeley bids and can't quite get there. Albright has it in his hands with bids flying in all over the place. And foul downfield.
Perhaps a pick. Oh yeah, it looks like number 5 stepped on 14's
Yeah,
foot.
it's Rick Shipley, and he's going to have to take an injury sub.
Borsheim, not the smallest player to have step on your foot, so I'm sure that hurts.
And they're going to take the opportunity, Johnny Walker, to get a more offensive option on the field as well.
That was Will Deaver coming on.
Not a bad substitute to have.
Don't let him rest. Don't let him rest. Work it.
Deaver eventually finds Batchy, jinking and jiving his way upfield. Not far outside the end zone now, Johnny Walker. Deaver goes up line, all very congested there, and another pick.
Can't say enough about the defense of the Zimmer offensive line. That has been just as much a part of Johnny Walker's inability to break as anything else. They are looking conditioned and fighting hard.
Players happy to play both ways as Batchy gets it past the bidding Ford. Wants the push pass into the end zone. The bid on the back shoulder from Seeley doesn't get there, and it's punched into Albright, and we're level at 9s.
Evens up the breaks, I believe.
I'll have a look at my stuff. It does indeed, although for Zimmer, getting those 2 in the first half and receiving to begin the second, they're still trading up, as it were.
Indeed, indeed. They're still at the advantage, so Johnny Walker's going to need another break to take the advantage back, but that really needed to happen for them with the wind at their back.
And you can just see that it feels like every pass for both sides is being so hard fought at the moment.
I think that's what I like about that defense from the offensive line. Really making it intimidating to try to play offense against it.
Right, it's partly a measure of the fact that the Zimmer D-line has not necessarily come out in match defense so much of the time, but also, yeah, maybe feeling that they need to earn the disc back. And, you know, really feeling like even if they don't actually get the disc, they're making Johnny Walker players maybe second guess these throws or these catches. As you're seeing some players on the grass bank behind us taking in the spectacle here. And what a day we have in store for you here at the World Masters Ultimate Club Championships. We're in the Grand Masters Open quarterfinals here, tied at 9s between Johnny Walker and Zimmer. And in his bracket play from here on out.
Yeah, you mentioned the players behind us. It starts to feel like a more spectator situation because other players are finishing up their tournaments and start to find the best games and tune into them. And this is certainly one of the best we've seen so far.
Berry for Zimmer. Underneath to Dave Ford. Back to Stobbs. High release backhand. Ooh, going to ground. Rob House secures it. Rob House? Rob Whitehouse even. Unintentional whoosh in there. Faison with it. There's bright yellow boots. Underneath. Gets it to Whitehouse. Past the beating defender of BB. Stoppage downfield. That seems to be a pick because Dave Ford was not even in the same area code as this defender. It's area codes you use in the States, right?
We got area codes for the phone and then zip codes for the mailing.
Okay, I'll use zip code later on.
What a well-traveled man.
Whitehouse. Low release backhand around to Berry on this sideline. Stop me if you've heard this one before. There's a pick downfield. Berry into space, off the outstretched left hand of Glover. Johnny Walker can break here to bring it on serve. Can they find the option? Around to Jacobs. Jacobs short to Carell. Carell wants to squeeze this one down the sideline, but he didn't get that one right, and he knew it as soon as he'd released it.
And that was the second defensive line for Johnny Walker, so have quite a bit, seemed like a little bit less chemistry than that first defensive line. So things were always going to be a little dicey for that offense.
Well observed, Bjorn. Stobbs central, Faison's in plenty of space. He puts this one immediately. Oh, this is going to swell. It's going to require some receiving, and it's batted almost into Berry's hands. Not a great throw from Faison, but he just about got away with it anyway.
Berry coming in, the always hustling Berry, who seems to be everywhere, almost got himself a free one.
Yeah, trying to get got a big hand on it, trying to rip it away, but basically batted it into Berry's grasp. Couldn't quite reel it in. This is brought to the front of the end zone by Jacobs. Second chance to break here from Johnny Walker's D-line. But they're not finding it easy, having to go short. Trying to get a switch communicated downfield. They pass it off in time. Good communication. Carell. Low, but corralled by Jacobs. Jacobs wants to put this in short order. It's all getting very tight and congested on this sideline. Tripoli, triple T. Stall count rising, just about finds Jacobs. Every stall count is getting to 7 or 8, it feels like. And given that that's the case, not surprising to see delay here call the timeout.
Yeah, that offense for that defensive line, that second defensive line for Johnny Walker is getting very predictable. And the only cut they seem to have was straight at the sideline from the handler position, getting about 2 meters at a time. So not going anywhere quickly.
Yeah, it's getting very congested, trying to clamp down and prevent the break. Zimmer's O-line here. While the two teams take a breather, we're going to do the same in the booth, and we'll be back with you on the other side of these messages.
He's in a great spot. He's in a perfect spot. Yes, his massive head has blocked everything. That was a huge play, but we have seen none of it. Finny, he's done it.
Welcome back to the University of Limerick for the World Masters Ultimate Club Championship. Thank you very much for watching on the World Flying Disc Federation YouTube channel as WFDF supports and promotes the global advancement of disc sports and spirit of the game. And this broadcast is brought to you in association with WFDF's partners and sponsors, including VC, outfitting the world's best Ultimate players since 1998, and they provided all the official tournament gear this week. And I have to say, as usual for VC, it is extremely comfy. Off the timeout, Johnny Walker trying to find a more consistent offense.
I think there might have been an injury substitution for both teams on that one because Will Deaver is in. I think somebody from Zimmer must have taken a sub, because Will Deaver was not in before.
Bringing on a key handler to try and power the D-line offense. And he's got it back in his hands now, breaking around to Jacobs.
And you see the offense here doing exactly what it wasn't doing without him, moving to both sides of the field.
And moving it quickly as well. On the doorstep of the end zone. Can they find a way to cross the plane? Still rising, going back to Diva. Risky shot into the end zone, doesn't connect.
Two great bids from both the defense and the offense, and they're both shaken up.
Yeah, Tayson's got back to his feet, but I can't say the same for the Johnny Walker receiver. Can't quite see who it is.
Here we go, White.
Might have to take the injury sub here. Just probably landed heavily and knocked the wind out of his sails.
Both of them looking like they're confusing the grass with a nice pool, but almost made the catch from the offense.
That does, to be fair, that does look like how I would try and dive into the ball.
Big belly flopper, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, not the most graceful of athletes myself. I can't believe I describe myself as an athlete. That's weird. There's a reason I'm on this side of the booth, and it's not just because I'm not Masters age yet. Tayson walks it to the front of the end zone. Could that be Zimmer's get out of jail free card? Tayson looking for options. Resets to Glover. Glover wants to open it up. He's looking for Tayson downfield. Can he catch up to it? No, you could see that he just ran out of steam. Johnny Walker playing it quickly off the turn, taking advantage perhaps of some tired Zimmer legs.
The reluctance of this line to huck it really catching up with them, because a lot of the Zimmer defenders are just staying under and switching very easily.
That throw bladed, but gets past Seeley into Carroll's hands, and flying through from the backside, Matthew Whippet Ford.
Fantastic D.
Might be a call here.
Sure, that's James Beebe, who might have got a little dinged up on the attempted catch. And Joe Iannacone coming in for him on the defensive substitution.
Yeah, sneaky that from Ford.
And with the length of this point, Zimmer's not passing up the opportunity to make their own sub.
No, it does feel like this point will have a huge outcome in deciding which way this game is decided. I used decided again there, didn't I? Yeah, this point feels like it's crucial. I'll go with that.
Right, even though it's only worth one, sometimes the mental and almost, I'd say, spiritual cost of a point like this, because you both put in so much of yourselves into a point, it means so much more when you earn it.
100% with you there. Johnny Walker and Zimmer, the two sides matching up. A little bit of synergy between the teams. Do you know what a Zimmer frame is?
I have no idea.
It's like a walking frame that you see old people have.
Oh, so the same thing as they're called Johnny Walker.
Yeah, exactly the same, basically.
So they have the same team name, but different parlances.
Right.
That's pretty great. That's poetic.
I thought that was quite neat.
Okay.
And Johnny Walker as well, kind of continuing the theme of Masters teams being puns on their open age division, with Johnny Bravo, of course, kind of the US club team everyone's familiar with, and then the Masters team, Johnny Encore, and the Grandmasters team, Johnny Walker. So a nice little progression going up there.
Which is which also works as the double entendre for the whiskey, which they need to drink to make themselves feel better at the end of the day.
So potentially a foul on over at the far side of the pitch, maybe.
So going all the way back to Deaver, which was 2 throws ago, because Deaver threw it to Carroll, who attempted to throw to Beebe. So that would be 2 throws back if it went back to Deaver. So we'll figure out the call for you in a moment here.
Yeah, the game advisor's coming in to try and help aid discussion, provide clarifications on the rules, but they are not able to make binding calls and judgments.
Okay, so just 2 throws back. Deaver would have been 3 throws back. So that's Corell with the disc. So the throw to Carroll never happened, nor did the throw to Beebe.
Yeah, it took a while, but we got there in the end.
At this point in the game, I would have to consume a significant amount of Johnny Walker to throw to Seeley's man.
Towards the break side to Jacobs. Jacobs going short. Iannicone, who just came in off that injury call. Corral into the gut of Tripoli. Tripoli going back. Diva around to Jacobs. Everything seems to just be going horizontally, and there's no verticality really about the Johnny Walker offense. Finally getting a little bit of flow and motion, putting that out into space. Bid required. Oh, what a bid as well. Brilliant way to ensure the break for Johnny Walker. I thought it was overshot, but a heroic play rescues it and gives them the break.
Just as you expressed a desire for verticality, they gifted it to you.
It just felt like they finally got the timing of those cuts downfield right. So looking downfield and seeing that there's already a bit of separation and it can go, and you can tell that this is going to require a play to be made, but boy, is that play made. It looks like it's Frost with the goal.
His first goal of the game, and what a goal. That, as we talked about, mentally, that goal was worth more than one.
Yeah, and I think it's appropriate for a player named Frost. Seems like he had ice in his veins on that reception.
I don't even think he thought he was going to get there, so good for him to keep powering all the way through the catch.
Right, got his reward for putting in the effort. Johnny Walker in the lead now, the game back on serve.
And that's 3 points in a row for them.
Bodies all over the pitch, battered and bruised it feels. Such has been the intensity of this game, with bids coming in all over the shop. Someone put Shannon Airport on red alert.
Did you know Shannon Airport was the first airport with duty free?
I did not know that.
Yeah, duty free was invented at the Shannon Airport.
Hot damn. I did not take advantage of that on the way in. I might have to do some on the way out.
For history.
Learn something new every day.
We haven't had a quick point in a while. Let's see if this changes the pace.
Yeah, 5 turnovers combined in that last point, although with the timeouts and the stoppages it felt like a lot more. Shardlow and Stobbs give going in the backfield. Now Bixler has it. Goes short to Grayson. Grayson wants Mitchell around, doesn't see it. Bixler underneath, there's a foul called. Stay forward on this near side. Who's he talking to from Johnny Walker? Is that Bulch? Just seeing if I can get a good look at that number. I think it is Bulch as the disc is checked in.
Yeah, it's Borsheim.
Oh, it might be. That throw a little bit behind Shardlow. Spins and makes the catch. Looking for that inside break. Bixler to the end zone, in stride. Much better, cleaner offense that time from Zimmer. Ben Mitchell catches to make it 10s.
That was a refreshing point to see an offense execute well.
Yeah. Yeah, in a game that had got a little bit scrappy, perhaps. That was much more clinical.
For sure. And we had also lamented Zimmer maybe clogging themselves a little too much. I think they did a really good job. They had enough time that last point to talk about it, but they did a really good job of spreading out, making sure no picks were going to happen. We see on the replay, nobody's within 10 meters of each other, making sure that each person has their own cutting space.
Those of you kind of interested in the tactical side of Ultimate will probably be aware that Zimmer's Felix Shardlow is the, I'm going to use the word discoverer of Hex offense, which kind of aims to keep those principles of quick disc movement and really spacing your cutters out. And one of the advantages, if you kind of integrate those principles, as it looks like Zimmer did on that last point, is that it does help to prevent picks, which really clog and stutter your offense.
Yeah, that's all I really knew about Felix going into this game, is that he discovered Hex in a cave in northern Scotland. But I'm actually very impressed with his conditioning, his hands, and his quick throwing ability. He's actually a very impressive player. So I'm glad to see there's a body along with the mind.
Yeah, played Clapham and GB Open back in 2011, I think. Johnny Walker's offense down that far sideline. Forward on the mark. Squeezed beyond him to the up line cut. Ruiz. Foul downfield, maybe? No. Thought there was a hand signal, but maybe not. Back in Ruiz's arms now. Trying to find it, and he jams it in the jam hole at the front of the end zone for the score.
And now we're back to the way we were at the beginning of the game, with just unstoppable looking offenses.
It's almost like that bit of a hell point was a fever dream now.
Yeah.
You guys see it on the replay. Ruiz just looking short, just sees that tiniest little seam, and Balch makes the catch for the goal, his first of the game.
Yeah, at the beginning of the game, Ruiz and Balch looked like the best players on the field, and then they kind of disappeared for a while there. And so now that the maybe the offenses are going to clean it up, we'll see that their great cutting ability back on the screen.
Yeah, a lot of Ultimate, I feel, is trying to just put your best players in positions to allow them to play at their peak.
We just saw Nathan Kolekovich, the great Ultimate photographer, walk by. I'm sure he's going to get some great snaps of the end of this exciting game.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, they've given him some... how can I put this? Photogenic is the word I was looking for. Yeah, they've made some photogenic plays on both sides. Some nice skies, layout blocks, and of course, some classic frisbee faces as well.
It's Pointer with a big pull.
Yeah, lands in bounds. Stops. Underneath cut comes from Stu Greer. Got a big bump there. Breaking it around. Grayson. Goes underneath to Bixler with those red sleeves. Forward. On the far sideline is Greer. Might try and get this up the line. Oh, this is going to float. And Walker pick it off. Chance to get their first 2-point lead of the game here. Inside shot into the end zone. And devastating on the turn from Johnny Walker. Punching it into James Beebe.
That was Batchy to Beebe.
Johnny Walker creating a little bit of breathing space now over their British opponents. It's like 1776 all over again. or something.
And they forgot about 3 if by air, which, Paul Revere let him know that this was coming in over the top.
I'd be interested to see it come in by sea, to be honest. Really zips that inside forehand for the goal. You said you thought it was Bacci, the thrower.
Yeah, I think so. I think that was number 6, Bacci, was it not?
I trust you.
Okay.
Got Bucky keeping stats again for us this game.
But yeah, just maybe making those throws a little too short on that difficult sideline, because that sideline is the sideline with the wind coming straight at you. So if you're trying to do quick give and goes up that sideline, you might have one pop up out of your hand unexpectedly, and it seems like that's what happened.
Yeah, that trap sideline, the sideline of death, always does seem to be where a lot of turnovers come. So pulling from the far side of the pitch towards the near, and the curve on that just takes it out of bounds. Chardlow signals that he wants to brick it. No, we're watching you. That's not how a camera works, Felix.
So with the WFDF rules, either take it on the sideline where it goes out or in the center of the field at the brick. And even though he's losing a few yards, he probably found it more advantageous to be in the middle of the field rather than stuck on a sideline.
Open up both sides of the pitch to attack. Nice yard gainer down there. Downfield to Glover. Foul on the mark.
And that throw was a good example of why you want to be in the middle of the field. That nice open lane wouldn't have been possible from the sideline.
No, generally, I think pretty much every Frisbee offense prefers to have the disc in the center of the pitch than on the sideline. This one, there's a big clash between Thayson and Albright as Berry can't reel in the deep put. If there was going to be any call, that'll be retracted and the turnover will stand. Good look there because he found Berry leaking deep and put it over the top, but it was agonizingly out of his reach. Could only tip it over the bar.
Berry found himself backpedaling because he was so open he just wanted the disc, and the thrower led him, which put him in an awkward position.
Johnny Walker trying to extend their lead with another break now. Jacobs pops it short. And another call, this time a pick. I think Jacobs on that cut clearing through, going too close to the other handler, and that prevents Berry from keeping his spot.
Yeah, Jacobs running by as like a basketball pick. You need to give a little more space there.
Whitehouse on the mark, trying to make himself as big as possible. And they do get the throw off. Just, again, keeping things short here. Johnny Walker's D-line offense. We saw Zimmer have trouble on that trap sideline. And calls come from the Johnny Walker sideline to really spread the field.
Yeah, this offense looking like it did before the Devers injury substitution a few points ago.
Carroll churns and chugs underneath to Lee. Travel called.
Go back to Carroll.
Yeah, I think maybe saying that he's just turning the corner a little bit there as he's slowing down.
You can take as many steps as you need to stop an ultimate, but you can't change direction during that slowdown.
Bacci squeezes it up the line to Yannicone. Still going towards that sideline, and another call here, maybe a foul. Bit of a push-off, perhaps. Contested. On the sideline, Albright just about finds the spot to Yannicone. Now they're breaking it around well, changing the angles. Bacci in a center position. Dumps it. Goes back up line. All tried to milk it. Nearly got his hand caught in the cookie jar, but eventually reeled it in and then zips it in that inside window. Nary a space there.
I believe they're saying Shardlow's saying he was not in, foot on the line. So at any rate, it won't be a turnover. It'll be either the score or Walker will continue with the disc.
Yeah, the validity of the catch is not in doubt. It's just whether or not he's in the end zone. I mean, look again. Stumbles a little bit, but still makes the catch. Ooh.
He tried to pull he was straddling and then tried to lift the straddle leg up at the last minute. So kind of like a reverse foot drag.
It's always tight in these situations. And they're going to say that he was able to get that foot up in time and the goal stands. It's really close, isn't it?
It's really close. Good awareness of him to know that he had to lift the foot, but whether or not he got it up in time, I guess, is moot now because it is called a goal.
Yeah, Zimmer within their rights to ask the question. But call retracted, goal stands. Johnny Walker up 13-10, putting away a little bit in the second half. They were down 7-9 at one point, and they've since gone on a 6-1 run.
That is correct. I want to talk about my friend Joe Iannicone there, who touched the disc a lot that last point. He's one of those strange cases who learned pretty late in life. I think he didn't learn to play Ultimate till late 20s or 30, maybe early 30s. But he learned, rather than learning through pickup, he learned from elite players because he just happened to be friends with some who were like, hey, Joe, you're in good shape. Let's show you this game. And so because he was in such good condition and never learned any bad habits, he became an ideal player to hop on to pretty good teams. And now I think he's outlasted all the people who taught him to play because he's well into his 40s now, has kept that elite conditioning, and is now out here doing a great job, never turning it over and playing hard defense.
Paul goes deep, and the first pass gets Stubbs on his knees. Ford past the bidding Jacobs. Goes central to Seeley, wants to pop this off again. Shipley shooting, oh, this is floaty. It's going to invite pressure. Bixler can only turn it round the corner.
Jumped up well, got his paw on it, but just couldn't reel it in.
Hand could not quite close in time. I think maybe he had the space to go up with two, if you're being hypercritical.
As we mentioned, go up with two when you can.
At times, Shipley getting a little bit over-eager on the mark. Trying to get the block and only succeeding in giving up contact. Foul, no contest. Wants the reset, puts it out into space. Gwynner has it. Couple of blocks this game for Gwynner. Hoping to get an offensive stat for this D-line now as well. Goes off to Darian DeLay. DeLay underneath to Moordock. Saw him play on offense a lot earlier in this game, now coming over to the D-line. Back in the hands of Gwynner here, the lefty. Finds a little soft spot underneath. Moordock. Central to Carroll. Carroll just past the bidding defender. Slots that one into Frost.
Wow, Ford's going to think about that one. That was a great bid, a risky throw.
Walker 1 point away from victory now. You can tell the Zimmer players just running on empty a little bit now. That hell point that went Johnny Walker's game might have just taken too much out of them.
Yeah, that was an offensive point for Zimmer too, which means that all their top offensive players were the ones out there gassing themselves. Where another reason that wasn't as costly for Walker to have that hell point, besides the fact that they scored, that was one of 15 defensive players, or 7 of 15 defensive players getting tired, whereas Zimmer's playing a pretty tight line on O, and every single one of those fellas was getting gassed.
Yeah, McLaughlin's injured on the sidelines. Ben Rolfe is unavailable for this game as well. So yeah, difference in the roster, and as you mentioned, because it's a D line, you know, maybe you tend to rotate larger numbers through on defense. So yeah, and if they had conceded, well, it was a D point anyway. You kind of not losing out in that sense.
You almost have nothing to lose, yeah.
So 14-10 for Johnny Walker. If Zimmer are to win here, they cannot concede anymore.
Walker scored 4 in a row. No reason Zimmer can't as well.
Can they score 5 in a row? We'll see. At times, their offense has looked beautiful, so it's not out of the question. Ball's a little bit shorter, the wind pushing against it, coming from right to left on your screen. Running the gauntlet in the backfield. Nice chemistry there between Mitchell and Shardlow. Mitchell just tosses this one for Whitehouse. Whitehouse shooting for Berry, putting it to space. That is a put. That is offense. 14-11.
That's great. Berry is so quick and really timed that cut perfectly.
Third goal this game for Berry, and came very close to having a couple more as well.
That's true. Yeah, a couple different reads, a couple different bounces of the disc, and he could easily have 6 or 7.
But then they played in the backfield to start the possession, find the yard gainer underneath to Whitehouse, and then Berry gets this cut developing nice and early. And what I love from Whitehouse is that rather than try and really zip in it and, you know, put it on him, just sits it to space and lets him chase it down. And Zimmer gonna call a timeout here, given the enormity of the task ahead of them, giving them a chance to get their breath back, collect themselves, formulate a plan of attack, I think is a good idea here. So we'll do the same in the booth, and we'll rejoin you very shortly. Welcome back to the University of Limerick, the venue of the World Masters Ultimate Club Championships. A pleasure to be here with you on the World Flying Disc Federation YouTube channel. Ulti TV's crew bringing you the action from the Grand Masters Open quarterfinals this game. Johnny Walker, 1 point away from victory here over Zimmer from Great Britain. It's Benji Rees still in the booth, still alongside the wonderful Bjorn Shea. Bjorn, if you're Zimmer, what were you saying to yourselves during that timeout?
I'd say, you know, bring every bit of energy you have. Don't think about the next point. Think about this one. And hopefully, I'd like to see them with the wind at Walker's back, pull something, I don't know, a little interesting, just to make Walker think a little bit.
Yeah, maybe you don't necessarily have the same juice in the legs. Do you have some juice in the brain? Whitehouse sags off there to get in the way on the mark.
That being said, it looks like the regular man.
Yeah, Schminke on the far side, travel call.
It looks like regular men, but definitely the fastest Zimmer players out there.
Yeah, trying to find speed as a way of generating the turn.
And the big Sealy on the dangerous Balch.
It's a lot of man in that matchup. Pryor has it in his hands, just about squeezes the reset into Diva's hands, over the top, finds the option, getting it back on towards the sideline, right in front of camera 2. Ruiz has it. Ford trying to be a menace on the mark, brilliant layout there from Diva to secure possession for Walker. Swings into the backfield, Ruiz out wide, now they want to attack the break side. Balch turns, looks in field, dishes it to Diva. Can Diva find that cutthroat killer pass? Barnard comes off, doesn't get there. Popped into the end zone for Schminke. Johnny Walker, we'll see you in the semi-finals.
Yeah, the defender put all his eggs in that bid basket, and it didn't work out. But they were probably going to score anyway. I was really impressed at that point. You saw Deaver's abilities, maybe the shortest man on the field unless Barry's out there, but to be such a great breaker to both sides of the field, he really runs that offense and makes sure that they never get stuck on a sideline.
Yeah, using that kind of lower center of gravity and the quicker changes of direction to kind of get this underneath the mark. That was the key play on that possession. That excellent layout save from Deaver. Barnard there thinks that the only chance maybe of getting the break and getting the block is to commit there, but when he doesn't get it, it opens up the window, and Schminke catches for the win, and what has been a brilliant game here for both sides. Can really say that they've done themselves proud on the showcase fields, on the stream here, but Johnny Walker in the end just had too much for Zimmer.
Yeah, what a great game. I think we were lucky to have been able to bring it to you guys at home, and I hope you enjoyed it. I sure did.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure and a delight, and the best part is that we've still got 3 more games on this pitch to come and 3 more games on the other pitch as well today before a full day of action tomorrow and the finals on Saturday as well. So make sure you don't go anywhere. The World Flying Disc Federation YouTube channel is where you can watch all of that, and make sure that you like, subscribe, and there's a notification button, a little bell that you can ring, and that'll make sure that you get notified every time we go live here, thanks to our Ulti TV broadcast crew. This broadcast is copyright 2022 of the World Flying Disc Federation, and for Bjorn Shame, my name is Benjamin Rees, saying we will see you on the other side. Thanks for watching.
Ulti.tv